In the scorching heat of Phoenix, Arizona, the early 1990s were marked by a shadow of fear. Two young women, vibrant and full of life, vanished while enjoying a simple pleasure, a bike ride along the canal. Angela Brasso on the eve of her 22nd birthday, and Melanie Bernas, a high school junior, disappeared within months of each other. Their cases became known as the Canal Murders, leaving a chilling silence in their wake. Detectives swarmed the crime scenes. Angela, found brutally stabbed and decapitated, had been sexually assaulted. Tensions rose as Melanie's body was discovered days later, similarly violated and dumped in the canal. The lack of a murder weapon and any clear connection between the victims fueled public anxiety. Tips poured in, but with over 600 persons of interest, investigators felt like they were chasing shadows. Years passed, a constant reminder of the unsolved murders, but a seemingly unrelated case from 1989 held a hidden connection.
I was just a young woman, when it happened. I reported being stabbed in the back by a then 16-year-old Bryan Patrick Miller.
While Miller was apprehended and charged with aggravated assault, the incident remained a chilling footnote. While Miller served his juvenile detention sentence, his mother made a horrifying discovery. Wayakrai.
Tucked away in my belongings was a note titled simply, Plan.
Its contents were a sadistic manifesto outlining the torture and murder of a young woman. This glimpse into Miller's mind sent shivers down spines, but the connection to the Canal Murders remained elusive.
Act 2, the zombie hunter emerges.
Fast forward to 2014. Phoenix had moved on. The Canal Murders relegated to the dusty archives of unsolved crimes. But Bryan Patrick Miller had transformed himself. Gone was the troubled teenager. Now he was a seemingly harmless warehouse worker with a peculiar passion, dressing up as the zombie hunter. Complete with a mask, a trench coat, and a fake Gatling gun, Miller became a local oddity, attending events and posing for pictures with children. The stark contrast between his past and his current persona made him an enigma.
Cold Case Unit refusing to forget.
Meanwhile, Detective Clark Schwarzkopf of the Phoenix Police Department's Cold Case Unit refused to let the Canal Murders fade away. With a renewed determination, he delved into the decades-old files, sifting through hundreds of names. The sheer volume of information was overwhelming, but Schwarzkopf was determined to find a link. A glimmer of hope emerged in the form of a new technology, genetic genealogy. This revolutionary tool allowed investigators to compare crime scene DNA to public genealogy databases, searching for distant relatives who might share a genetic connection with the perpetrator. With a surge of optimism, Schwarzkopf submitted the DNA evidence from the Canal Murders. Act 3, the net closes in.
The results arrived, a single surname, Miller. Sifting through my list of persons of interest, I found a match. Bryan Patrick Miller.
The man who reveled in being the friendly zombie hunter now stood as a potential suspect in the brutal Canal Murders. But how could a seemingly normal man be capable of such monstrous acts? The sting operation, a calculated risk.
I needed concrete evidence to link Miller to the crimes. Devising a clever plan, I approached Miller at work under the pretense of needing security assistance for a nearby building.
Unaware of the detective's true intentions, Miller readily agreed.
I then orchestrated a job interview at a Chili's restaurant, hoping to discreetly collect Miller's DNA.
The plan unfolded flawlessly. Investigators ensured Miller's utensils were untouched, retrieving a glass he used after finishing his water.
But as I observed Miller interacting kindly with his teenage daughter who accompanied him, a sliver of doubt crept in. Could this mild-mannered man be responsible for the horrific canal murders? The DNA analysis delivered a definitive answer, a match between Miller's DNA and the DNA found at both crime scenes.
The years of tireless investigation, the technological breakthrough, and Schwarzkopf's calculated gamble had finally paid off.
In January 2015, Bryan Patrick Miller was arrested and charged with the murders of Angela Brosso and Melanie Burness.
Act 4. The Trial and the Aftermath. The trial, held in October 2022, was a stark contrast to the playful persona Miller had cultivated. His defense argued that childhood abuse had triggered severe mental health problems, leading to dissociative amnesia, an inability to remember the murders.
I have no memory of the crimes.
The jury, however, wasn't swayed. The overwhelming evidence, including the DNA match and the disturbing note from his youth, painted a picture of a calculated killer. Judge Suzanne Cohen found Miller guilty of both murders. In June 2023, he was sentenced to death. Life on death row, a haunting legacy. Today, Bryan Patrick Miller sits on death row at the Amon Prison Complex in Florence, Arizona.
I maintain my innocence. The DNA evidence is a mystery I cannot explain.
Despite his appeals, his fate seems sealed. The specter of the zombie hunter persona continues to haunt the city, a chilling reminder that evil can lurk beneath the most unassuming masks. The families find solace, but the scars remain. For the families of Angela Brosso and Melanie Burness, the verdict brought a bittersweet closure. The decades-long wait for justice was agonizing, but finally, the perpetrator was held accountable. Yet, the emotional scars remain.
Joe, who baked a birthday cake I would never live to eat, carries the weight of unfulfilled promises.
Marlene Berna, forever haunted by the image of the strange puddle where my life ended, struggles to find peace.
The emotional scars remain. The legacy of the Canal Murders. The case of the zombie hunter serves as a stark testament to the enduring power of investigative perseverance. It showcases the groundbreaking potential of genetic genealogy in tackling cold cases. But most importantly, it reminds us of the fragility of life and the devastating impact of violence. As the city of Phoenix moves forward, the Canal Murders stand as a chilling reminder to stay vigilant and never let the pursuit of justice waver in the face of darkness.